Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
So we've been talking about Loop, and we say Loop is not just an app, it's a lifestyle, and this is what it means. I have Loop on, I've downloaded it on my phone. So basically the registration process is it's seamless. It just take you through simple process, just putting your details. At some point it'll tell you, just scan your ID, just so that it's basically like know your customer. Just go through the know your customer processes. And once you have it, they even send you an email and you verify that email that it's yours, then good to go. You have access to the Loop app. You can pay, you can deposit, you can pay by code, you can scan to pay. You can link your card, 1 card, 2 card, 3 cards onto your Loop app. And it's very, very easy to pay. For example, if you want to send money, you can send money to mobile number, to Loop, to M-Pesa, to PesaLink, to Airtel Money. Or you can send money to bank, to NCBA, to PesaLink, through EFT, through RTGS, through Visa card. You can send money to many, all right? Loop, you just enter mobile number, the beneficiary name, second beneficiary, third beneficiary. You can basically send money to many people. Uko na watu, members yako, ya union, unataka kufacilitate, sababu tumeanza mgomo, waongeleshe watu huko chini, now you now get to your Loop and you send money to many.
Yep.
And that's what happened. Yes. And it's as simple as that. When you say it's lifestyle, it's sorting you out in very many ways. So you're not just having to think, oh, okay, now I have to get money from my account onto my, let's say, my mobile money wallet, let's say M-Pesa, and then from M-Pesa now I start distributing money. You can send money straight
to the people
from your account to those people directly. This is good information for somebody like Cyprian Ombati, who is the National Vice Chairman of the University Academic Staff Union, who is our next guest. Bwana Vice Chairman, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
Si unasikia hii?
Kabisa.
Your members are coordinating the ongoing nationwide strike by university dons.
Yes.
And you want to now facilitate them, and you had agreed, we need airtime, we need to do this, we need to do that, and you want to send them money. If you downloaded Loop and you're running this account, it will be very easy for you to do that.
True.
Okay? The other thing that you could also do, imagine you need to call all these people today to coordinate. Imeendaje mgomo? Tuko sawa? Watu wameingia kazini? Kuna vice chancellor wenu wameitana, nasikia VC wenu wameanza kutoa threats. All those things, and you're talking to all your members countrywide. The one thing you don't want to do, Cyprian,
yes,
is to get to a point where you run out of airtime in the middle of a call. I will tell him then what he needs to do.
You need to subscribe to Safaricom All-in-One. You know what that does? Like, you have 1,000 people to talk to, and you need to talk to them for like a minute.
Yes.
It gives you 1,000 minutes of airtime.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
Rather, 1,000 minutes to talk. 2,000 SMSs. You can actually set them on your phone.
Okay.
Unlimited WhatsApp.
True.
Free. As well as 17 GB airtime. I keep forgetting that word. 17 GB of data for you to get on and do whatever you need to do. So you can imagine the amazing things that you're able to do because you got on this all-in-one. Nothing like TTT airtime is over. Nothing like, okay, I can't send anyone, I need to go buy airtime. Not in the middle of all these things that need to be happening. Safaricom saw this and said, you know what? We need to be able to give people a one-stop shop where they can get all their communication needs in one bundle. And that's the all-in-one. So you dial *544# and then you get on and you go to Go Monthly and you select the bundle that you want. And for this, and you can see the different, different things that you can get as a result of you subscribing. 2,000 bob a month, again, gets you 2,000 SMSs, 1,000 minutes of airtime, 17 GB data, as well as free WhatsApp, just for 2,000 bob a month.
Can you imagine that free WhatsApp? All your members are on a WhatsApp group. True. Now you're communicating to them for free.
Yes.
You're not spending data, you're not spending airtime, it's free just because you subscribed.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. Consider. Now, our colleague Siti Muga is not in this week. He's taken a couple of days off to go and recharge his batteries, but he left us with the proverbs, and he said this week the proverbs are from Libya. All right? Yes. What do you know about Libya, Cyprian?
Libya, we know it for the famous, the famous leader?
Yeah.
And the oil is a rich country that produces oil.
Yep.
Northern Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what we know more about Libya.
Yep. Yeah, Muammar Gaddafi was the leader until 2011,
True.
when he was killed in that NATO-sponsored initiative. The proverb for today, listen to it and give us your interpretation of it. Learn to shave by shaving orphans. Learn to shave by shaving orphans. What do you think the proverb is telling us?
Learn to shave by shaving orphans.
Yes.
So that orphan, it's telling us that if you have something that you want to do, you better first offer it to those who are needy before you start taking it to a place like a market to sell, or where people can now purchase that commodity. If you have a product that you want to go out to a market, you can first start by giving those who need it for free, in other words.
It's a nice
My
interpretation.
goodness.
That's a nice interpretation.
Yes.
Yeah, I think of the needy
Absolutely.
before you start thinking of profit.
Yes.
Okay.
She'll come later.
Okay. Now you've come here, you are wearing a firimbi and UWASU uniform, and there are very many things that are happening. And what are the words written there? Education?
Liberates. Education liberates.
All right.
Yes.
There are people who don't know what UWASU is. Please, Olimu, teach them. What is UWASU?
Yes. Those who are watching us, viewers, I want to say that UWASU is Universities Academic Staff Union. So this is a union for academic staff in public universities in Kenya. And here we are talking of from graduate assistant, assistant lecturer, tutorial fellows, lecturers, senior lecturers, associate professors, and professors. So these are the membership of UWASU.
How many are you currently?
UWASU, roughly now we are about 10,000. Yes.
10,000
across the country.
active members.
Active members.
From how many universities?
From 38 public universities in Kenya.
Okay. Why was UWASU formed, and what does it represent?
UWASU was formed, it used to be there in this first around late 70s. It went through 80s, 90s, but officially it was registered in the year 2003 with the coming in of the new NAC government. Otherwise, it has been there before, agitating for welfare of dons in public universities in Kenya. So I can say it was officially registered in the year 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we talk about welfare of dons here, we speak about salaries, allowances, emoluments, benefits, and all.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And who then do you negotiate with?
Yes. UWASU negotiates with councils, because in universities the employer is council. So we have a body of all public universities, which is referred to as Interpublic Universities Councils Consultative Forum, IPUCCF. That is the body which we negotiate with on behalf of government.
So the one body.
Yeah, he's one body.
So the CBA, any collective bargaining agreement that's signed by UWASU and Interpublic Universities
Councils Consultative
Forum
Yes.
applies to all
University.
academic staff in all public universities.
Yes.
Uniformly across the country.
Uniformly, even though again we have another layer where we have also local CBAs. These are collective bargaining agreements that are done between individual now universities. Yes. Even now as UWASU, we want to move out of that. We have told them we want to have only one CBA. So currently as we are, we have national CBA, which has some items, and then we have local CBA.
Okay.
In fact, one of the reasons why we have this strike is because we had agreed that we want a number of items to be removed from what we are referring us to individual or local CBAs. whereby Kisii University has a CBA, Kenyatta University has a local CBA touching on one or two items, but we have a national CBA that cuts across and is implemented uniformly.
What are the benefits of having the individual CBAs? There must have been some benefits.
The way it was agreed initially, the national CBA used to negotiate basic salary and house allowance only. And you find now what that means is basic salary and house allowance across public universities is uniform.
Yep.
But we have other rates which are now applicable in each university. Maybe, for example, professorial allowance, book allowance, medical issues, promotion and all that. You find sometimes those are at individual university. And now we have realized, even with the coming of SRC, that where we are, this leads to differential pays, because one university will decide my medical benefit will be like this, another one is having a different, yet the criteria on how we are promoted and appointment is the same. So at the end of the day, you get that workers in different universities are earning different salaries, yeah, because of those differential treatments in each of the local CBAs.
And that's not encouraged. We prefer that it would be standard across board?
Yes, we want it to be standard, so that a lecture in a public university is the same all over.
Okay.
In fact, we agreed this, we have a recognition agreement where we agreed that some of these items now with IPUCCF, let us bring them to the 2021-25 CBA. And that's one of the reasons why we are on strike.
So why was
Because
that not
they
accepted?
ran away wanting us to do it the old way, which creates disparities, and our members are not happy about it. Yes.
Why would they do that, from your thinking? Why would they, knowing very well that these are some of the elements that were brought into a 2021-2025 CBA, and the reasons as to why that, why that was preferable were laid bare? Why would they come back and make sure that there are disparities amongst this pay? Because that's what we're talking about now.
Yes, yes.
If we're trying to make the pay standard across board, all public universities in the country, if a lecturer is earning 250,000 shillings, let it be. It doesn't matter where they are, right?
Yes.
Why would they come and then go against that? It seems to make sense that they would want to see some kind of uniformity across board.
Yes. So this shows that we lack seriousness with our negotiating social partners, IPUCCF, because once we have agreed on a matter, signed a recognition agreement, then we should honor that agreement by doing that. But now when you come to the negotiating table, again we find they want to say, let us do it the way we have been doing it before, which our members are saying no. Because when you tell us to only negotiate basic salary and house allowance, the rest of the items, we can negotiate them at individual university.
Okay.
Then they continue creating those disparities, whereby, and again, now they will encourage our members to start moving from one university to another. You are teaching in more university, then you will switch to go to Kabianga because you will think
Kabianga has better
there
terms.
It has a better terms than this. And as we are saying, let everything be standard. Just like maybe for teachers, it doesn't matter where you are teaching.
Yeah.
Your grade, even if you were taken to another school, the pay is the same.
Yeah.
But in universities, that is not what we have.
You see, in the schools, in the secondary school or the primary school, the head is also reporting to the same employer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In terms of the councils, each university is an entity. It's a going concern by itself.
Yes.
Okay? Let's just look at where the merits would be.
Yes.
If you are sitting in the council of Kabianga University, for instance, and as a council you have looked and seen, we want to attract the best academic staff. We want to attract also, the best so that we can get, for other reasons, we can get the better funding, we can have better research grants. We want to be we want to be the best university, public university in Kenya and the best university in Africa. As a council, that's what we're thinking. So we want to attract the best talent. We want to have control of our terms of employment. We want to sweeten the deal for people so that they can come to us and leave the other public universities and private universities. Does that not make sense? That each council then wants to look at how do we attract and retain the best
Yes, that has failed so far, this far, because it has been tried. Now we want to go to something else. Because if you look at, maybe, for example, schools do perform in as much as TSC is one employer. We have schools that perform and others that don't perform. There is nothing like this is going to attract, because it has totally failed. We have not seen it. In fact, it is now being misused, whereby if you are in one university, they decide to sit on those people. They don't give them what is desired of them. They don't do promotions. So at the end of the day, people are demoralized. And at the end of the day, what happens? It is our students who suffer. Let us have a one uniform CBA. If possible, let us have everything housed centrally, so that now our people will be able to have treatment that is equal. Even SRC, one reason they were brought on board is to avoid these disparities, so that you don't feel that if I'm working in that university, I should be having a better pay than somebody else who's working in another university. Let us all be treated equally. If I want my pay to be better, then that can be done through promotion. If I achieve what is required of myself, they will promote. And again, nothing stops councils to have even some incentives. Those are there, they are allowed in the public, where if you are an outstanding employee, then they can be able to reward you in a different way and nobody will complain. I think that will be better for us. But what we have, it has already failed. There is no need again of experimenting on
When
that.
you say it has failed, do you want to tell me, Cyprian, that there are no DONS academic staff in a university who feel that at least our university, because of the local CBA that we have signed,
Yes.
we are getting a good deal? Are you saying that all university academic staff in all the 38 public universities have a complaint with all their individual CBAs?
From our statistics, I can report a majority. We have a very few, but now when you look at our membership, majority are suffering because of these local issues. A case in point, let me talk of medical.
Okay.
When you look at the medical benefits, you find one or two universities may have good benefits medically. Others will have a medical scheme that you will not even understand. For example, they will say, we will be paying you 3,000 shillings per month on your pay slip, and we are done with you.
As a medical allowance.
As a medical allowance. You know very well, with the economic times we have, if you pay me 3,000 shillings, there is no way I'm going to save awaiting an ailment, then I say I can go to hospital. By the time I face that,
You cannot even
the
take
money
up,
is not there.
you can't take up a proper insurance with 3,000 shillings a month as
Yeah, you
premium
can't.
anyway.
And in any case, you know human beings. If you give me that money, I will spend it. Yeah, I'll not go. Because for now, I'm in good health. I don't know about tomorrow.
Yes.
So if I get the money, I'll say, let me use this money for A, B, C, D. Then, all of a sudden, a disease or an illness comes in.
Yeah.
Then you are left there. So those are some of the things we are saying.
But the local branches of the UASU in that university agreed to that. And they signed the local CBA.
Now, the other thing that is making us to disagree with the some of them are not even signed. You know, in a university, we have terms of service, which when you are employed, that's the first thing you are given.
Yeah.
And most people, when they are coming in, you see, you will not argue there when you are receiving your letter that, yes, I want to understand before I sign. The first thing is, you are hereby employed, you will sign and agree.
I've gotten a job.
I've gotten a job. Even if you open and see it is 3,000, most people will just say, let me take this job. Then you start arguing when you are inside. So that's where we have a problem. And most of those universities don't even have those CBS. They will tell you, refer to our terms of service. Terms of service sometimes were done unilaterally. Unions were not there when they were being placed on the table. It was only the council that was there. So those are some of the disadvantages with the current system that we have. And therefore, we have said in 2021 CBA, let us have those items. In fact, we agreed. It's only that they have renegade on what we said that time.
So where are we now in terms of the obviously, we know that there's a break in those communications, and that is what has led to the strike that has been called on, and it went into activation yesterday, right?
Yes.
So what was said, or in this case, not said or not agreed upon in uniform non-agreement,
Yes.
that then now said, okay, WASU said, we've tried, but we can't. What was that?
The reason why we are on strike now, those who are viewing us so that you can be able to understand, public universities are in a mess because of either poor leadership, because of councils that are not working the way they ought to work, and they have brought us to where we are. In our CBA, we have disagreed on a number of items. One, we have our basic salary. In public universities, since 2017, we have never received a pay increase. According to SRC, we should have a pay increase after 4 years. So 2017-21, now we are in 21-25. And this means that July 2021, we were to get a pay increase. We submitted our CBA to IPUCCF, a proposal, in September of 2020. So that within 30 days or so, we start negotiations. Come December, we are clear with the negotiations. Money is allocated and all that. Come July 2021, the CBA begins. We have new salaries. That didn't happen. So we are here, no salary increment. Our other social...
Since 2017?
The last increment was July 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, so that
across
means
all public
universities. So we were expecting to get an increment in July 2021. To date, there is nothing. When we gave the CBA, they dilly-dallied with it, nothing. They haven't come to the table. We only met on the table in the year 2023, last year. So we started negotiations. We have done about 10 or so national negotiation meetings. And the last one was shortly before we gave our strike notice. Yes, we have disagreed.
Yeah.
They have not given us anything meaningful. Instead, they are telling us that some of our members will receive a 0%. In other words, no increment.
And that's the best that they gave in terms of from the other side of the table. There wasn't anything else substantial that you could then say, all right, let's work with this. It was either that or silence?
Not really. They gave a 7% increment to the higher cadres.
And who are
I'm
those?
talking of professors and associate professors. You see? And when you come to how salaries are done, normally it is the lower cadres who are supposed to get an increment. And the high, who should get a higher increment.
Yes, lower cadres should get higher.
And the higher cadres should get a slightly lower increment in terms of percentage. But now they are doing the opposite.
So 7% to the higher cadre, the associate professors and professors.
Yes.
And what
the rest of the lower cadres is 0%.
To everybody else.
That's what they have given. If now I talk of even the rest of the staff from grade 1, university we have grown from grade 1 to 15. But for academic staff, we begin from grade 10 to 15. So since I'm talking on them, 10, our members will get 0. Grade 11, 0%. Grade 12, some of them will get 0, a few will get 3% or something like that. Then now the rest of the grades will get 7. We have said no to that.
This is being presented at a negotiation table.
Yes.
What was the justification? Because even you, when you presented your proposal, you had justifications for each.
Exactly.
What was the justification for 00007?
No, they said that is what they are giving out. That's what they have even given others. But others who are given 7 to 10%. Now where we are, we have said we also need to be given that 7 to 10% so that the lower cadres get the 10%, the higher cadres get the 7%.
I have a feeling there's something here. If the other staff have gotten an increment between 7 and 10%.
Yes. Not in the universities. I'm referring to civil servants, police officers, teachers. They have been given for the CBA 2021-25. But public university, here we are.
Why would a university, a forum representing all university councils, knowing full well that they have not had a salary increment for their academic staff since 2017, come back and say we shall continue with 0 increment in salary, even in the new CBA, and we're discussing it in 2024? Why would they do that?
They are coming to the table. They are saying we sometimes it is SRC. SRC is also saying that is the way to go. So because of that, We have
Is that
nothing
true?
other than for us to go out.
Is that true? Has SRC recommended no pay rise?
We asked for SRC to come to the negotiating table to give those explanations. They refused.
Sorry, okay. So the council made it known to you
Yes.
that SRC has refused
Yes.
a salary increment across board.
Yes.
What you're asking is that SRC comes and says that for themselves, that this is what they actually said.
Yes, we need
because
an
you've not seen any kind of communication to that effect from SRC.
You see, the way SRC operates is very funny. They normally tell us that we are under no obligation to communicate with the union. We communicate with the employer, with IPUCCF. It is them to transmit whatever information they have to you.
Could that be what they've transmitted?
We guess, but again, we doubt because IPUCCF is again the one advising SRC that you write a letter to say, give them a 0%. You see?
Okay.
Yeah, that is where we are in public universities.
Let's take a break.
Because
Mario.
another problem we are having in public universities, the people we are negotiating with are like our colleagues again, vice chancellors, who, according to us, have vested interest that they wouldn't want us to get that increment.
Why?
Because for them, they are not in that CBA. We are negotiating up to grade 15, but for them, they are above that.
They don't benefit.
Yes.
They don't. Okay. Time for a break. Cyprian Ombati is the National Vice Chairman of the University's Academic Staff Union, UASU. UASU has called a strike, and lecturers across all public universities, 38 public universities, are on strike since yesterday.
Yes, from yesterday.
And this is because of a breakdown in communication. So UASU negotiates with a forum that brings together all the councils of the 38 public universities. It's called the Inter-Public Universities Councils Consultative Forum. They have been negotiating. One of the things that they've been saying is, since we have not had a pay rise for the last many years, since 2017, can we have some pay rise? UASU has come back and said, okay, we can only give a pay rise, not UASU, but IPUCCF. We can only give a pay rise to associate professors and professors, 7%. The other academic staff, unajua hata finance bill kataliwa, na your students, the Gen Zs, and all those things. That's why they're on strike, among other reasons. We'll be talking about those other reasons shortly. 25 minutes to 9.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your
Unbeatable deals at Pip. Get the football you want and get it all on DSTV. DSTV delivers every heart-pounding moment, every jaw-dropping play, and every unforgettable goal. Experience the passion. Feel the intensity. Football isn't just a game. It's your life. The new standard in news. The Standard is redefining how you consume news online. Available now on M-Pesa app. Download today. Dental tips. Brought to you by Sensodyne. Brush your teeth at least twice a day. Use Sensodyne toothpaste with a soft bristled toothbrush. Medium or hard bristles can damage your gums and tooth enamel. Always read labels prior to use. If symptoms persist, consult your dentist.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Well, things are getting real.
We disagree to agree.
I think you are very wrong when you say everybody has WhatsApp.
A lot of people.
A lot of people. And the future voters,
Even
in another 10 years.
No.
In another 10 years, even 5
And I'm
years.
saying so because I have numbers.
Guy, have you gone mad?
What is Nebuka? And I'm told it's Mira.
No. On this show, we say it in black and white.
We know very well how the vaccines are very helpful to our children. Actually, they save lives.
For us, we go on. Yes, we're going to talk about you, mistresses, side chicks, all those other names that you're called. We're going to call them out. We're going to keep it real and let's be real. Sunday at 10 p.m. See you then.
Join us each week for music and the spoken word, featuring the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, the longest-running continuous weekly network broadcasting the world, celebrating over 93 years on air. Each episode features modern and traditional arrangements of spiritual, patriotic, classical and contemporary music, and a timely, inspiring message. Truly an uplifting, rejuvenating experience that will have you returning to each week. Music and the spoken word with the Tabernacle Choir.
When it comes to service, delivery matters. And at Standard Courier Service, we deliver on time and never take forever, without losing your packages or taking you in circles, so you never have to keep guessing if you made the right choice for your deliveries, because we never cut corners when it comes to you. And get it all countrywide by dialing 0793 599 684 for the Standard Courier Services. Efficient, flexible, 24/7.
Intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Crisis in our public universities, in our university, in our education sector. Yeah. Today we are just looking at universities. A lot's happening. Lecturers have now down their tools because breakdown in communication between them and the employer. Cyprian Ombati, the National Vice Chairman of UASU, is our guest.
Okay. So now, just before we went to the break, we're talking about, so what was the straw that broke the camel's back? And looking at what SRC may or may not have recommended, and then what IPUCCF said they said. So it could be, a whole game
he
of
said,
she said,
yes.
But then to have everybody on the table at the same time talking one to the other has not happened. And so that is what now we saw yesterday, where everybody said, okay, fine. Until and unless we can have something substantial, then UASU says we're going to withdraw and down tools. And that happened yesterday. So what exactly are we seeing happening around public universities? Non-academic and academic staff have downed their tools. So basically learning in public universities ceased from yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. And what would it take to come back to the negotiating table?
For us to come back to the negotiating table, where we have reached, it requires an interministerial committee. That is now the level where we are. That is the only thing that we'll be able to sort out the problem that we are having. But sending us back to IPUCCF or vice chancellors is a wastage of time. I want to say that 2021-2025 CBA is a very special CBA because this one was going to bring almost an end to all the ills in public universities. And how? One, because as I said earlier, we had agreed with them that going forward, let us have negotiation taking this nature or route, which they have given a turn back on. Let me talk of when we went to the negotiating table, the issues so that they are able to come out clearly why we are where we are now. One, when you look at public universities, we are now being told that our fees will be paid from students. Our salaries will be paid from the student fee. We are asking why that kind of discrimination when all other government workers or public workers are paid from the exchequer. So that's another problem we are having on the table. We don't want to be paid from the fees collected by students. You and I know that fee collected from students cannot be able to sustain a university or run a university. If they tell us that, then we expect doctors who are treating at KNH, doctors who are treating at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital in Kisumu, to also be told, together with nurses and clinicians, that whatever you collect as payment from fees
is what pays your salary.
That is to pay your salary. Police officers, what you collect from fines and whatever criminals pay there, use that. We don't want to go that direction. We want our salaries to come from exchequer. Another thing.
What has been the practice so far?
So far, it comes from Exchequer. Monthly capitations from the government to university, then they pay our salaries.
So it's part of the capitation?
Yes, part of capitation.
And you don't want it to be part of the capitation?
If it is part of capitation, well and good. That we may not have a problem.
What's the issue?
But there is a new thing coming in.
Right.
Creeping in slowly, that going forward, we will be paid from the fees. And what's the danger with that? It means you can go to a university and students decide not to pay fees. And then you are told because
What is fees? Is fees not those three things? The capitation that comes in form of, now we are calling it what? Scholarship. There's HELB, that's a loan to a student.
Yes.
And homestead contribution.
Yes, yes.
Those three make fees.
They are the ones that make fees.
Before this,
yes.
What was fees? It was HELB, it was out-of-pocket contribution, and it was
the household.
The household.
Yes.
And there was the differentiated unit cost coming from the Exchequer.
Yes.
Those three were making fees.
Yes, yes. The difference that we have now, that they are saying is coming in about 2 years from now, is they want whatever they collect from fee, as you have defined it, let that use to settle salaries. And everything else, which we are saying a strong no. And I've given an example. Why are others not being told the same thing? Why should teachers, maybe let me use teachers, teachers in high school and primary schools, people pay fees there also. Why are their salaries being allocated and budgeted and given to TSC? We want the same, so that nobody will come and tell us that we haven't collected fees. Students are not able to pay fee. So at the end of the day, we cannot pay your salaries. We can only pay depending on what we have received. As we are saying, you can take all those fees if you want, but pay us from Exchequer. The other problem that we have is harmonization. When it comes to public universities, as I said, you are a professor or a lecturer in one university and another one in another university. The pay is not the same because of differential allowances and something like that. We have said we want harmonization. It was there in the CBA. They have not addressed that because we want to have a pay that is equal across board.
Okay.
The other one,
a question
is,
there,
yes,
just for clarification. A professor who is teaching the most expensive course in a university, is he paid the same amount as a professor who's teaching the least expensive course in the same university?
Yes, that's what we have. Yeah.
Should that continue being the case?
Once you are a professor, you are a professor. Yes, because the requirement for you to be a professor are the same, depending whichever discipline you are doing. The professor, whether it's medicine, a professor of sociology, the requirements for them to reach there are almost the same.
Okay, go on.
Let me talk about the other issue that we have is annual increments. We have a problem there again. When you move across our universities, we have some universities that don't give annual increments to our workers. You find if your salary is 50,000, it is 50, 2021, 22, 23, 24. You know that in the public sector, salaries have annual increments, which is given. It is there in law, as our people are suffering because they are not given that.
Reason?
Reason being, a university comes and says, for example, for us, we are not able now to give you the annual increments because the amount of money we receive from the Exchequer is not enough. That has also led to universities not being able to remit pension, to remit loans.
Okay.
I have a loan with a bank. You go to the bank, they tell you, the last 2-3 months, we have not received your pay. But my pay slip shows they deducted the amount. When you ask the university, they say we are sorting that. Some of our members, they have, banks are now auctioning whatever property or something that they have so as to recover the amount. And that is one reason we are saying, let us have uniformity across public universities so that you don't feel differential treatment here. Another university is also doing its own thing. So those are some of the issues that we have. Like, for example, now in Moi University, they are out. For the last 4 months, nobody has addressed their issues. Technical University of Kenya, they have been out. In fact, if you look at the mess in universities, like I can see it here in the newspaper, it totals to 75 billion shillings. That is what they need today. If the government provides 75 billion, then most of our problems will be solved. They promised that during campaign. Nothing has happened. Egerton University, if I talk about Egerton University, you are given a pay slip. you are given a salary that is not 100%, maybe 50% of your salary. You are told this other one is deferred pay. It is written there in your pay slip. It is accumulating month by month. At the end of the day, you find like you are being told, we owe you for the last 3 or 4 years, we have you at 2.5 million, which they have not paid you. Tell me, how will that lecturer deliver in a class? Yet he has not been paid. Nobody has addressed that. I hope now you are getting our point, why we are saying let us have one treatment across board so that our problems are solved once and for all. We saw education charter during campaign. You were there. In fact, you are the one who interviewed them. What they said there was very sweet. But now what is happening is very different.
They took a ground.
Yes, because they said, going forward, nobody in university will have a deferred pay. Our people have not received that. Technical University of Kenya, here, in Haile Selassie Avenue, their pension scheme has gone under. You have been contributing for the last 15, 20 years, money awaiting your retirement. Now when your retirement is coming, the university tells you, we are sorry, we don't have money, including your own contribution, which you have evidence from payslip that they deducted this money. It's not there. Where is the problem? Again, the other problem is the financing at higher education. The government must accept that public universities must be funded by public. Forget about these formulas of the fees, model, I don't know, band one. Those are good only to the public, sweet to them sometimes, but the reality is they must sit down and have a way to finance these universities so that we don't go under. So those are some of the items we have in our CBA, which we feel if they are addressed, and as I said, at the interministerial level, so that we don't want to go and meet the CS education. You talk to him, and yet the CS treasury is not aware how much is required. They have not set aside our money.
Do you think it's an issue of inadequacy of funding?
Not really. I can say yes.
Do you think if they said today that they were going to set aside 75 billion shillings to sort out the issue that is at the universities today, that they could be able to get it, in other words?
Yes. Our problems will be solved hand in hand with the management at the university. Like now, if you look at Moi University, if I was to advise the government, let them overhaul the management at Moi University. Let us have a fresh management. But as you have said, if government today sets 75 billion, then our arrears will be paid, our pension will be paid, our bank loan arrears will be paid, our harmonization will be done, and they sustain it going forward. The problem we are having is this treatment where we are treated like not Kenyans. If you look at civil servants, for example, have you ever seen them complaining? Another issue we have is car loan and mortgage. SRC gave car loan and mortgage in the year 2015. We are now 10 years. Public university workers, they have never seen it. Civil servants have received it. They have bought houses, they have built houses, they have cars. Us, we don't have. You can see the demoralization that we go through at the university.
But what causes all this? I mean, for example, SRC has recommended and approved car loan and mortgages.
Yes.
And none of the universities has been able to implement it so far. You talked about the others that are in law. I mean, you're supposed to get an annual increment if you're working in public service.
Yes.
It's an expectation.
Yes.
None of the universities has done this.
Yes.
What's causing this?
The problem is inadequate funds. Kenya has money.
Inadequate funds where?
From government to universities. Because if they use the formula they are using, because there is nowhere worldwide you can use fees to sustain a university. That one, forget. Fees is just a small percentage on what is required to run a university. And government thinks that through loans, bursaries, and what they are calling as household, they will be able to run a university. Forget about that. Because that is, for example, let me ask you, if you are to do a library of 1 billion shillings for a university that has maybe a capacity of 30,000 students, the amount we collect from those 30,000 students in form of fees, I can tell you, cannot reach even 1 billion. It will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 400, 500 million
per year.
And then we have other operation costs within the university. So that is where we have a problem. What we have with the government, they are doing is, you know, vice chancellors are public employees also.
Yeah.
So if the CS, the PS are their bosses, they give you, for example, a university requires 250 million per month in order for payroll. Then you are given 100 million. You are told, you see how to do that. You are also a leader. Where can you muscle 150 million in a month? Because at the university, we don't sell. we are not a supermarket to sell products.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that it looks as though the time has come for universities and their management councils to look beyond waiting for the exchequer to send money to get things done. That universities ought to operate in a model whereby other universities around the world operate, whereby you are bringing in funding using different kinds of initiatives. Is that what you're saying?
The funding from exchequer has to increase. If a university payroll is 250 million, give them the 250 million straight for payroll.
Not a shilling less.
Yes, don't give them 100. And where do they get 150? That is what brings in the temptation where they don't pay your pension. You get it?
But
they deduct. They deduct your tax, your pension. They don't remit.
They use that to pay the next person.
To do something else.
To make the net 100%. When you go to them, they have not paid. When you ask them, they tell you, where do we get this money from?
They've also made that suggestion, though. We've heard that has come from different quarters, whereby they say universities have to look at own source funding and revenue.
Yes.
That they have to look at that as an option. Is it something that can work in kind of symbiosis, or are you saying no? First of all, if you know that the payroll is this amount, exchequer, deliver that money, and then these other sources of funding that you talk about, we can think about that.
That one is encouraged, that universities can also be able to source, even council. And that's normally what we ask them. You as council, how much have you sourced? Nowhere. But let us not run away from the responsibility. Public university is not a private university. It has to run using the state coffers. Taxpayers from exchequer, consolidated fund, we get money from there, we run our universities. So if these problems are looked at, to me, then our strike will come to an end. We'll be able to have normalcy back at the university, because where we are standing now, if we do the things the old way, we will not get it. You have talked of university getting funds. They cannot get funds from students. Why? In Kenya, all students who get C+ and above, they join university as government-sponsored students.
Yes.
Meaning, whom are you waiting for to come? Because for you to enter university, you must have a C+ and above.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's why we are saying the government cannot run away from its responsibility. We have seen billions of shillings being splashed left, right to do things. Do we need those things? It's a high time we have a sit down and say, how do we do in terms of public university financing? Final but not least is to say, we require that harmonization. Let us be paid from exchequer like all others. If you come to promotion, our members are very angry. If you saw them on TV yesterday, and we have told members of management, even stay away from those people. Leave them to do their thing in strike. Because this is somebody who also has children. He has been deducted money.
Cannot access a loan. Loan is not being paid.
In Moi University, a lecturer told us, I have given my laptop to a Duka so that I borrow every day what to eat. When I get money, I'll pay. If not, then they can auction that laptop. Is that where we want to go? So we are asking all these things that the government has to give this serious thought.
But how do private universities, how do they operate? Where do they get their money from? How do they get money to run operations of the private university, to pay the lecturers in the private university, and all the other stuff? Where does the money for private universities come from?
They have a funder, they have a sponsor, they have donors. For a public university, the financier, the donor, is nobody other than the government of Kenya.
But many of them, the private universities, are not running as non-profit. They are not non-profit organizations. They are for profit. Even if they have a funder, this funder is looking at the bottom line. So how is it that private universities are able to run their operations from the money that they... What are the sources of money for them?
Well, you have just answered it. You have said they are run as business. They have investors, people who have put their money there. and they know how they'll get it. But in public university, you see, the only person who can give money to run a state, because we are state corporation. But remember now, for public universities, we are not for profit making.
Yes.
You see, so what that means is the burden has to be borne by the government.
Okay.
World over, I can tell you for free, government institutions are run by government money, taxpayers. In Kenya, they want to bring a scenario whereby, for example, it is possible you can be able to run and generate from where. That's why I've said, what do we sell at university? So that you say, by evening we have some money. We don't have.
Okay. We've seen now that the Environment Court has actually given orders to halt the strike, to prepare for negotiations between both sides.
The Labour Court.
Yeah, Labour Environment Court. The Employment Court. What does that now portend? What would that mean?
The court order?
Yes. As of
Obviously,
this morning.
I haven't seen it.
As of this morning.
Yes.
So I mean, it's just news coming in that they've said, look, halt the strike and let's go back to the negotiating table. Obviously just coming to your ears now, but what would that mean?
Since I haven't seen, I may not really comment on it, and since it's a matter of the court, that one I leave. I hope they have served our National Secretary General, who is the person to respond to that. But as of now, our strike continues. This is our day 2.
Cyprian, strikes in Kenya go the same way. Issue a strike notice, go on strike, the employer goes to court, the court declares the strike illegal, says workers need to go back to work. You expected the court to say go back to work.
That is what I've said. For now, I may not comment. I don't know even the content of that, but we respond. I'm going back to office. The National Secretary, maybe even by now he has responded on that. But as of now, as where we stand, this is day 2 of our strike. Our member escalate the strike, let it bite till the government pays. The strike will only end when we strike a deal. That's what we said. And our deal for now is we must have an interministerial to end the problems in universities. Where we have reached, our members were saying 1,000 ways of death. One of them is working in a public university. Yes.
Cyprian Ombati is the National Vice Chairman of the University's Academic Staff Union. He's been our guest, telling us why all the university academic staff are on strike and what it will take for them to go back to work. It's 9 a.m. news time. Next up, the health crisis.